Good morning. You're watching Market Cafe on ET Now. This is Priyanka Bright this morning. Let's understand the cues that we're gathering from global markets, from US markets. We'll get you the cues. How is Asia Pacific market faring at the moment, and all the buzzing stock that you have to keep on radar so that we set you up for the day today. But first thing, US market. It's a truncated week there. It's a holiday shortened week, 4 trading days every day, and let's not forget that US market is also coming off the winning week. Last week we saw modest kind of gains coming in from US markets, especially after the Thursday when the market and the traders got more clarity on the kind of reciprocal tariffs that could be possible on the countries, on the Asian countries. But then how did market, what was the action what we saw on Monday? You talk about NASDAQ, S&P, and there was a mixed session. Dow and S&P, they closed lower, closed in red, whereas NASDAQ on the flip side gained by 0.4%. If you talk about Dow, that one gained nearly 0.3%. S&P closed flat to negative, and NASDAQ, that one closed higher. In the meantime, the big cues that traders will assess this week would be the FOMC minutes, which are due later this week. Bond yield were quite steady yesterday. 4.5% is the kind of mark that bond yield is trading at the moment. But then if you talk about last week's gain, we did some superb gain coming on S&P, which advanced nearly 1.5%. Dow gained nearly 0.6%, and NASDAQ rose 2.6%. But the start was good for US markets. A mixed session coming in from US markets. Moving on, let's talk about oil, which has been on the downside. It fell for the 4th straight day on Monday, and there are concerns. There are concerns about market participants are expecting a Russia-Ukraine peace deal that could ease out some sanctions. So what we saw on the crude futures slid around about 20 cents, 0.2% precisely. It is trading below $75 per barrel mark. Brent could be talking about, and nearly 3.1%, more than 3% they've slumped in last 4 trading sessions. On the flip side, gold, that one rose on Monday. If you check at gold prices, US dollar has weakened. It was below 107 mark, and now spot gold, that rose nearly 0.6% yesterday to settle at mark above $2,905 per ounce. So that's all. That's about the key indicators and the US market. But now let's get you more stories, more global stories. OPEC Plus is considering pushing back a series of monthly supply increases due to begin in April, despite calls from US President Donald Trump to lower the prices. According to the delegates, global oil markets are too fragile to revive production right now. However, no decision has been made yet, and the group is split on how to proceed further. A decision may be finalized in coming weeks. Postponing the modest hike of 120,000 barrels a day would mark the 4th time that the alliance led by Saudi Arabia and Russia has delayed plans to revive production halted since 2022. Now, the coalition currently aims to restore a total of 2.2 million barrels per day in monthly increments by late 2026. Russia's Deputy Prime Minister Alexander Novak also mentioned that this time frame remains the same, and there haven't been any discussions on a deferral. Moving on, let's get you some more stories about the Russia-Ukraine peace deal. The end of the Russia-Ukraine war may be on the horizon. European leaders met for an emergency summit in Paris to deliberate peace negotiations. Additionally, the US and Russia will meet in Riyadh to discuss the issue. However, Ukrainian President Zelensky has highlighted the urgent need for an armed forces of Europe. He argued that the ongoing conflict with Russia has proven Europe's military independence is not just a concept, but a critical necessity now. Zelensky also stressed that no peace talks regarding the war should take place without Ukraine's involvement in it. He expressed concern over the US and Russia meeting to discuss the peace without Kyiv at the table, emphasizing the need for Europe to have a direct role in the negotiations. Now let's get you the key events to watch out for this week. As traders would assess the jobless claim data, which is due from UK economy. In fact, their unemployment data is also on the tap. If you talk about the other events, San Francisco Fed President Mark Daly to speak he'll address. In fact, there will be a key crucial address coming in from Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey. So there will be key events and of course FOMC minutes that will come later this week. Moving on to some more stories, Federal Reserve Governor Christopher Waller has said that he expects trade tariffs under Donald Trump as having only a limited impact on inflation and that the central bank should not stall in adjusting policy. Waller mentioned that his baseline view was that any imposition of tariffs will only modestly increase prices and in a non-persistent manner. He recommended that the Fed look through the effects of Trump's trade policy when adjusting the interest rates. His comments came just weeks after the Fed kept interest rates steady while warning over increased uncertainty in the face of Trump's trade tariffs. Chinese President Xi Jinping delivered a speech at a rare closed-door symposium with prominent entrepreneurs, urging entrepreneurs to show their talents in a new era for the nation's businesses. He added that China must unify thinking, strengthen confidence and promote the healthy and high-quality development of the private economy, while downplaying the sector's current financial challenges as temporary, local in the process of being reformed. And in a rare gesture of hospitality, PM Modi received the Emir of Qatar, who arrived in Delhi last evening. The Emir is on a two-day state visit to India. He will meet President Draupadi Murmu and hold talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi on February 18. Sumita Kharir joins us with more on the agenda. Sumita.
Right, so the Qatari Emir is on a two-day visit to India. Prime Minister Modi visited Qatar and this is happening after that. Now, Qatar provides over 48% of India's global energy imports. So this visit is going to be key so far as the energy collaboration and cooperation between the two countries is concerned. In fact, industry figures suggest that bilateral trade between India and Qatar was in the range of $18.77 billion. In fact, Qatari presence was seen at the India Energy Week as well, wherein the officials stated their commitment to supporting India's energy requirements, and both sides are committed to, in fact, exploring more avenues in energy collaboration. So there will be talks around trade, technology as well. What's really on the agenda? Well, the Qatari Emir will be accorded a ceremonial welcome. He'll hold talks with Prime Minister Modi covering various aspects of the bilateral relations between the two nations. In fact, MEA stated that there will be talks around trade, investment, technology, and like I said, energy collaboration and cooperation will be key. Remember, India has been actively engaging with the Gulf region, so this visit is being seen as a crucial visit. This is also important because the situation in the Middle East remains precarious. A ceasefire has been announced between Hamas and Israel, so there is hope that tensions will come down. Definitely, that's also going to be on the agenda as well.
All right. Thanks very much for that details on this particular news, Sumita. We'll keep a watch on it and we'll come back to you if there's crucial updates on this. With this, we stay for a short break here. When we come back, we get you the Asian cues and all the buzzing stocks. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Market Cafe on ET Now. Now let's get you cues from the Asian market. The Asian market mostly looks higher, and a slew of central bank decision which has to come from the region this week, which will be on the tap. Let's get you the cues coming in from the Nikkei market, which is up by 0.4% nearly. It actually opened around the flat line, especially after the strong GDP figures. Yen has strengthened after the GDP rose more than expectation. In fact, yen, the Japanese yen, which has strengthened to trade at 151.5 mark. Let's get you the broader index also topics. That opened with on a positive note only, but let's see if it has got a follow-up gain or not. follow through gain or not. But then in the meantime, Kospi is trading on a lower note. It is down by 0.6%. And let's get you ASX, the Australian market also. That one also was trading lower. It is still in the red mark with loss of 0.6%. But topics, the broader index for Japanese market, we'll get you that. But Hang Seng is trading with gains. Yesterday we saw the flip side coming in on the Hang Seng and the ASX. Now Hang Seng looks like in a positive territory. Shanghai on the flip side is down by 0.24%. So a mixed set of cues coming in. Japanese market trading higher, Hang Seng higher, but Shanghai, ASX, even Kospi, they are trading lower at the moment. If you look at the cues coming in from the GIFT Nifty also, that looks like a softer start again. We are in for a start with 30 points of dip. Let's see, below 23,000 mark. That's what is indicating. And but then yes, market were able to flip off the 8th straight session of losses if it would have closed yesterday again in the red mark. That one actually reversed. It was a smart recovery what we saw yesterday. But moving on, let's get you more cues on in fact, what do we have for you as an action-packed day going ahead? How to navigate the volatility? We speak at 9:20 with Samit Vartak, who's a CFA and CIO and partner for Sage One Investment, to understand what is he decoding at the moment. Is the time to deploy money at the moment, or wait for some more levels, some more dip to come? Then we have at 9:45 Nikhil Nangia from Bernstein to talk about the power sector. Is that derating in power sector, which is very visible, going to continue for some more time, or there could be some light ahead of the tunnel? We'll have to see, wait and watch. At 10 a.m. we speak to Xuan Rin from China Market Research Group, and to understand how AI and DeepSeek especially has been a game changer for China, and is the market really flowing in Chinese market? At 10:20 we speak to Sumit Gupta from Centrum Broking to understand the specialty tilt in pharma sector at the moment, and what could be the impact if the reciprocal tariffs are levied on the sector. Now, with this, we slip into a short break. Welcome back. You're watching Market Cafe on ET now. India's trade deficit widened to almost $23 billion in the month of January. This was up over 24% from the same period last year. Now, exports too declined significantly and imports rose for the month of January. If you look at the cumulative deficit in the current fiscal so far, that has come in at $87 billion, which is more than the same period last fiscal. And the non-petroleum exports rose by 14% between the period of April to January. Compared to the previous fiscal, in that electronic goods saw the sharpest rise, followed by pharmaceutical, gems and jewelry then. Moving on, let's get you some more news. SBI MF, in collaboration with State Bank of India, launched a new SIP, Jan Nivesh, where installments start as low as 250 rupees with flexible options now. Now, investors can now choose to invest monthly, weekly, or even daily, whatever suits their need. It is available across the platforms like SBI UNO app and even the other fintech apps. It is aimed as a cost-effective and a sustainable alternative for the first-time investors as well as for the small savers. ET Now's Ankur Mishra had an exclusive chat with partners with SEBI, with the SBI on this launch. Let's listen in to the excerpts from the chat.
I think our belief is that we are ready for this, and I don't think the guidelines are going to materially change the objectives of what we are trying to do. And if they do, we will be, I think we should be open to make those changes. But since the draft guidelines were already available, it's reasonably clear what we have to do. And on that basis, I think we've just gone ahead.
Right. One more thing which comes in mind, which are the products initially where it is available?
So for now, we've launched it with the SBI Mutual Fund Balance Advantage Scheme. And the reason why we've done that is because this is, one, it has the best reach. When we had launched this fund about 3 years ago, less than 3 years ago, we were able to distribute this very effectively to almost all the locations, all the PIN codes in the country. That's one. Second, I think the fund has the ability to flexibly maneuver between equity and debt. on a very, very pragmatic basis that the fund manager can take a call. And I think it's our belief is that it is best suited for the large diversity of investors that Jan Nivesh is expected to cater to.
Right. Mr. Sharma, Paytm Money has been anyways doing several kind of new initiative. Why did you thought of collaborating with SBI? Do you think 250 rupees SIP can be a game changer?
First of all, we have this large merchant base which sort of receives money every day. We've seen in past they sort of used to go to the chit fund kind of people who would come and pick up some money from them. And it was very, very much clearly the next product that we had in our mind after we launched our credit product, where everyday deduction of credit is a very phenomenally useful product for them. And we also did a little bit of market survey, and SBI was phenomenally ahead of trust and every capability that it delivers. So while we were thinking of this requirement, SBI was thinking of requirement, it sort of was match in the conversation. So we reached out to SBI, who in fact was, like Nitin suggested, was discussing itself. So it came very naturally to us to work and look forward to work with SBI for a daily SIP. We are champions of daily and weekly because the shopkeepers love to take that deposit for saving.
Right. Mr. Jain, I want to come to you. If I may ask, the kind of markets where we are in currently, there has been a lot of volatility if you talk about past 3 to 4 months. Do you think particularly everything comes on to bottom line, everything comes on to business, but SIP addition of 250 rupees will help you?
See, the way this new product is structured, the operational cost, the inefficiencies have been removed. And we stand for democratizing wealth in India, and any effort or any new product that is created which can help that, we will be supportive of it. And so, I mean, SBI taking this step is obviously great, because with their reach and their trust and with our digital capabilities, this can be a successful product.
Right. One question I want to ask you, Mr. Venu, there was a discussion on transaction charges. What is the settlement with SBI on that? I mean, end of the day, any partnership needs to benefit both the partners. How is it benefiting you?
So I think if you look at the core philosophy of how Zerodha operates, I think the investor is at the epicenter of it. So we don't intend to monetize customer transactions. We're always looking out for the value that we can add to the investor, and we of course aim to earn from investor investments, but I think it has to play over the long run, right? I mean, there's a classic Amitabh Bachchan dialogue that I remember, which is "Nazdiki fayda sochne se pehle dur ka nuksan sochna padta hai." So I think it's a great initiative to get people into the markets and then help them build wealth over the course of the next few years and be beneficiaries of whatever you stand to make as income out of investors.
All right, so that was an exclusive conversation with all the partners for this new venture of SBI mutual fund, that is the Jan Nivesh, that is the SIP for just 250 rupees. We in fact also spoke to DP Singh, who is the Deputy MD and Joint CEO at SBI Mutual Fund, to understand the rationale behind making an SIP of just rupees 250 available only in the Balance Advantage Fund. So let's hear out his rationale for that.
Equities, being equities, are a risky asset class. So we are going in a very, very systematic, very, very balanced manner. For example, when market was at its peak, Balance Advantage Fund was having around 20-25% into the equities. The market corrects further, will increase our allocation to the equities, so that we can create wealth for the investors. So that decision an individual cannot take. We are taking that responsibility on our shoulders, and that is possible to be taken on our shoulders only through a fund like Balance Advantage Fund, which gives the flexibility to the fund manager to move from 0% to 100% into equities depending upon the market movement. Going to have partner with every fintech, every other partners also, and they have huge credibility. People like PhonePe, people like Angel One, people like other security companies, HDFC, Axis, ICICI, SBI, all have a huge database. we will be tying up with all of that. Since this was done in a hurry, and see, these 4 people which were tied up, they are getting almost 60 to 70% of the digital SIPs as of now. But yes, we will be tying up, and we will continue to have much more broader base.
All right, so much more broader base is what is expected. That's the word coming in from SEBI Mutual Fund, SBI Mutual Fund. Moving on, FIs have been moving away from the Indian equity markets, either back to their origin or to the other market. One must know that since the year started, Nifty has lost over 3%, slipping below 23,000 levels. In the same time, FIs have been net sellers, selling shares worth 87,000 crore rupees. DIs have been unable to match that level. Now, the Finance Ministry has shared its rationale behind it. Meanwhile, DEA SECI, Ajay Seth and market expert Sunil Subramaniam had what they have to say about it. Listen in.
It is true, and I thought you were implying it in your question itself, that FIIs also go out when they are able to in a position to book profits. Indian market today, Indian economy today has an environment in which investments are also yielding good returns and profit booking is also happening, and I'm sure you would have seized that fact also.
शेयर मार्केट में ये किसी नीति के ऊपर शेयर मार्केट नहीं चलता है। शेयर मार्केट जो है वहां पर फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट कितना आ रहा है, हमारा डोमेस्टिक इन्वेस्टमेंट क्या आ रहा है, क्या आगे के क्या ग्रोथ की क्या संभावनाएं हैं उसके बारे में है। और एक सुदृढ़ता आई है कि डोमेस्टिक इन्वेस्टर काफी मात्रा में है, म्यूचुअल फंड काफी मात्रा में है, लेकिन जो देश के बाहर की परिस्थिति है, जो एक अनसर्टेनिटी जिसे कहते हैं, उसके चलते हुए और एक जहां पर होता है कि कुछ वो एक अनसर्टेनिटी के चलते हुए जो बड़े मार्केट है वहां पे जाना चाहते हैं, तो ये एक शॉर्ट टर्म का उसका प्रभाव है और ऊपर नीचे होना ये स्वाभाविक है। मार्केट का रेगुलेशन है वो रेगुलेटर करते हैं और मार्केट सुचारू तौर पे चले कि उसमें कहीं पे कोई परेशानी नहीं आनी चाहिए। मार्केट में जो इन्वेस्टर जाना चाहता है, जब वहां से निकलना चाहता है, सुचारू रूप से हो, उसकी पूरी व्यवस्था है। उसमें कहीं पर भी उसमें कुछ आगे पीछे वहां पर नहीं हुआ है। पहले यह था कि अगर जो विकसित देश के मार्केट थे वो नीचे जाते थे तो भारत का मार्केट भी नीचे जाता था, ऊपर जाता था। उसमें बदलाव आया है पूरी तरह से, लेकिन पूरी तरह से डीकपल हो गया है वो भी नहीं होता है। तो ये मार्केट बेस्ड है कि जहां पर भारत सरकार को या किसी भी सरकार को कब जरूरत पड़ती है कि वो मार्केट में कहीं कुछ करे जहां पर कोई मार्केट फेल्योर हो। यहाँ पर कोई मार्केट फेल्योर की बात नहीं है, मार्केट सुचारू रूप से चल रहा है और उसमें कोई परेशानी की बात नहीं।
There is global uncertainty that's undoubted with Mr. Trump every day coming out with something new. So the US dollar strength and the US interest rates being at a very high give them very profitable opportunities to invest back in the US market. But I do not think that any FII is pulling money out from India as an emerging market and putting into another emerging market. That happens, I'll tell you when oil prices shoot up. Then commodity exporters like Russia, Brazil, they tend to get an allocation away from India. But that's not been the case. At this particular point in time, the FII profit booking is from taking from one emerging country like India to another. It is only either to go back to the US or to in debt or in US equities. I don't think there's any other plausible reason at this point in time for FIs to sell down. India has not gone into a long-term growth decline.
All right, so those are the views coming in with what exactly is happening in the markets. But on that note, we slip into a break on this edition of Market Cafe. When we come back, more stocks to address and tell you what to watch out for, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Market Cafe right here on ET Now, and let's talk about stocks that are making headlines and will be in focus in trade today. So first up, let's talk about Bharti Airtel, because we understand the company's promoter group, Indian Continent Investments, will likely divest about 4.83 crore shares in the company today, or likely today via block deal. Let me go across to Anurag Joshi to get more details on that, to understand the contours of the deal, and if indeed that block deal is likely to happen today or later this week. Good morning to you, Anurag, and what are you picking up from your sources?
The block deal for the Bharti Airtel shares is scheduled today. A promoter entity of the Bharti Airtel is going to sell shares in the market today and the value of the transaction, according to the term sheet, is 8,000 crores. That's $922 million. Now, this promoter entity, which is called Indian Continent Investments, is planning to sell 48.2 million shares. That's 0.8% equity stake in Bharti Airtel. And Jefferies India is the book runner on the transaction, and this block deal is going to happen today.
Okay, so block deal likely today. Founder family control stake, which would be come in for the block, 48.2 million shares. That is what, as a supply, could come today only. Thanks very much, Anurag, for that detail on that. We'll await more details on this topic from you. But moving on, Brent crude has declined almost 9% from its recent peak and is now almost touching $75 per barrel. In fact, it's trading lower than that now. What is weighing it down and how is it impacting India? Ashesha is here with all the calculation. Ashesha.
Well, yes, Brent crude is near that $75 per barrel mark, and it is down nearly 9% from its 15th January high of $82 per barrel. And over the last 1 year also, Brent crude has declined nearly 10%, although it has remained flat on a year-to-date basis. Now, there are several reasons that are contributing to the fall in oil market globally. One, there are growth concerns on account of tariff war between US and China, peace talks that have been happening on geopolitical front, and apart from that, US is also working on increasing production domestically. That is also one of the reasons why supply is expected to increase in the market, and Brent crude prices continue to fall in the global market. Now, apart from that, this of course is a positive for the Indian economy, and this is because India imports nearly 85% of its total crude oil requirements, and hence any fall in crude oil market globally is a positive for India. Every $10 per barrel fall in average price of Indian crude oil basket reduces current account deficit by about $14 to $15 billion, which is 0.4% of the total GDP, and hence it is a very big positive for India per se. And it also reduces retail inflation by about 50 to 60 basis points and wholesale inflation by about 125 to 135 basis points. Apart from its impact on the economy, it's also positive for several sectors which consume crude and crude oil derivatives, the likes of paint companies, tire companies, lubricant companies, specialty chemical companies, whole host of these companies. It is a positive for them. Nearly 40 to 50% of the total raw material basket comes from crude and crude derivatives. So several companies and of course the economy as a whole tend to benefit on account of the fall in crude oil prices.
Right, so that's all about crude oil prices, Ashesha. But stay with us because Zomato has now launched an AI-powered customer support platform for businesses across the globe. It's called Nugget. This AI tool is the first product from Zomato Labs, and that's the company's incubator for in-house innovations. So tell us more about this, Ashesha. Sounds very interesting.
Well, yes, Zomato will be in focus today, and that is because they've launched Nugget on the 17th of February. Now, this is an AI native no-code customer support B2B platform that is designed to help businesses and to increase their efficiency. In fact, Zomato claims that it receives up to 80% of the queries autonomously. It can solve 80% queries independently without any other kind of support, and it learns and adapts in real time. So those are some of the advantages that this feature comes up with. It is the first product that has been launched by Zomato Labs, which is the company's in-house innovation hub, and they say that more launches of this kind are expected to come up over a period of time. It was initially developed as an internal tool over 3 years, but it now manages over 15 million customer supports interacting monthly across all of its platforms, Zomato, Blinkit, as well as Hyperpure. They say it provides a whole host of services, the likes of accurate image classification, automated quality audits, and seamless integration with other tools like Freshdesk, Zoho, and others. So yes, it is a tool which is used to increase efficiency, and it helps in solving 80% of the queries in customer support.
That's quite a big development. Of course, kind of an AI ecosystem. That's what Zomato is trying to build through this. Thanks very much, Ashesha, for all that details on that. Now, moving on, Gaurav is standing by with a list of stock that could be buzzing in trade today on the back of earnings as well as other news impact. Gaurav.
today with ABB India because we have got good set of numbers in Q3 from the company. When we talk about revenue, that has increased almost by 22%, while profitability increased almost by 56% on a year-on-year basis. And what remains a key positive is that EBITDA margin have now expanded almost by 440 basis point. Other than that, Deepak Fertilizers will also be in focus because its wholly owned subsidiary Deepak Mining has now increased its stake in Australia's one of their step-down wholly owned subsidiaries, Platinum Blasting. They have increased their stake almost by 20% for the cost of around 64.1 crore rupees. Other than that, Karnataka Bank is also going to be in focus today because during the course of its review of its suspicious UPI global transactions, they have found some certain deficiencies, and as a result, they will be reversing some of the cross-border UPI transactions worth 18.5 crore rupees. Other than that, TVS Supply is also going to be in focus because now promoter TVS Motors have bought around 20 lakh shares via block deal. This block deal happened at a price of around 128.86 rupees per share. Lastly, we will also be watching out for NTPC because as per reports, NTPC is now planning to spend around $62 billion on its 30 gigawatt nuclear power over the 2 decades, which is actually 3 times more than what it was anticipated earlier. NTPC is also in process of seeking early approval for the land of in 8 states and 27 locations. It is also as per the sources, and that is the reason why this company is also going to be in focus. So definitely watching out on all these counters on the back of the news flow that we have received in the morning.
All right, thank you so much for that, Gaurav. We'll watch out for all of those stocks that you've addressed, as well as Airtel and Zomato, because a lot of news development on that particular front. But with that, we're totally out of time on this edition of Market Cafe. It's a goodbye from Priyanka, myself, and the team that put the show together. Thank you so much for watching.